Hello and welcome back to Transfer Review, where we put silly season under the microscope. Joining me today, it's James, Wayne, Jimbo. How are you on this very hot Thursday?
Yeah, I've just had to shut the windows, so there could be a large amount of sweat about to be built up. But I'm good. Euros are on. You know, everything's kind of, I would say, loosening up rules-wise in England, but obviously we had a full week delay, so that's not great. But things are all right. Things are all right. It's nice and sunny. Euros are on. We've got things to be happy about.
Good, yeah, we certainly do. And this show is taking its usual format. So we're doing transfers we like, or one transfer we like, and one transfer we do not like. And we are kicking off with Cristiano Ronaldo, our transfer we do like, to PSG. And this came in from Inzaghi_22. What's going on with this one, Jimbo?
Yeah, Gazzetta Dello Sport have claimed that whilst Ronaldo has been offered a £17 million per year deal by Manchester United to return to the club, he's obviously his preferred destination, I should say, would be to PSG. Now, reports across Europe claim that the 36-year-old is angled to move away from Juventus. Obviously, they've had a disappointing season, 13 points behind Inter Milan, and it looks like they've got kind of a rebuild on the horizon. I don't think Ronaldo is the kind of player to stick around for a rebuild project. Now, Gazzetta dello Sport once again claim that the future of Paul Pogba is still unclear. Obviously, there are some, open extension talks at United over the past week or so. But he could be used as a make-weight to obviously get the Ronaldo deal done. I think both of them, would in some kind of romantic sense both like to swap clubs. So, the players-wise, I think both of them would be slightly keen for that move. So at Juventus, the returning Max Allegri, is keen apparently on bringing in Manchester City's Gabriel Jesus, although personally I wouldn't like to see that happen, which would make sense considering, Ronaldo costs 30 million euros a year to keep at the club. So obviously maybe planning for some moves. Obviously, it's only speculation so far. But Ronaldo apparently wants to go to PSG, which would make sense. Obviously, he can win a league in a fourth country, cementing his status as kind of, one of the world's greatest players of all time. Rightly so, to be fair. He's already broken the Euros goal-scoring record. He's only 3 behind Ali Dai in the all-time international record. He's currently on 106 in 176 games, which is absolutely phenomenal. You cannot... As much as you want to say, in the battle between him and Messi, his goal scoring is just unbelievable. I would say he is the best goal scorer ever. You cannot take that away from him. But, Dougie, which club would suit him best? Obviously, there's a few out there. Which would really suit him best?
Yeah, well, I think Man United is probably pretty unlikely, no matter what Gazzetta says. Their priority is clearly Jadon Sancho, and he's already reportedly agreed personal terms with the club. All that's left to decide on is the fee. And with Edinson Cavani, Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, Mason Greenwood, all capable of playing centrally, do United really need a 36-year-old Ronaldo, especially when he's going to cost that rumoured price of £17 million per year? I'd probably suggest not. PSG, slightly different story, however. Only Mbappe with 27 and Moise Kean with 13 scored over 10 league goals. And Mauro Icardi was particularly disappointing in his second full year in Paris with 7 goals and 3 assists in 20 league games. Moise Kean isn't guaranteed to return to the club. Apparently Everton are going to wait until they permanently appoint the successor to Carlo Ancelotti and see what he wants to do with Moise Kean before they decide on his future. So Ronaldo with his 5.1 shots, 1.2 key passes and 1.9 dribbles, still incredible output considering he was playing for a mediocre Juventus side, let's say. Not to mention his 0.96 XG, 0.1 more than the best at PSG Mbappe. He'd be a major asset for PSG. There's no getting away from it. I'm sure he'd score bucket loads of goals in the French league, which is improving. But Cristiano Ronaldo, he's going to score goals at Man United. He's going to score goals for PSG. It's just who can really afford that fee. But unless PSG get rid of a lot of fringe players, they won't be able to afford Cristiano Ronaldo and retain Mbappe as well, with Mbappe currently stalling over a new deal which of course expires in 2022. Nasser Al-Khelaifi said last week that he's not going to be sold under any condition, that even when his contract runs out they're going to keep him, etc., which is not really how contracts really work. So we'll see what happens there, but it seems very unlikely that he'll go to PSG either. But either way, despite all this speculation, Ronaldo has spoken publicly and said none of this speculation is going to distract him from the job at hand with Portugal. He said, maybe if I was 18 or 19, but I'm 36 now. Whether I stay at Juventus or leave, it won't affect my Euros. So, after 101 goals in 133 games for Juventus, still quite an extraordinary level of goal scoring, 2 league titles and a Coppa Italia, it appears that Ronaldo is preparing to pack it in at Juventus, but I just can't see which club is going to be able to afford him in this current market. So I think he's going to stay exactly where he is. Ooh. I mean, James, if he did end up at United, is that the sort of signing that would have you as a Man City fan quaking in your City boots?
Potentially. I think because it's Ronaldo, it's different. Obviously, they signed Ibrahimovic before. They've signed Cavani for a kind of similar, just kind of we want someone to bang in goals for us. But obviously, Ronaldo is a completely different class. So obviously, I would be scared. But then you think about the fact that he'll be under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so it kind of lowers that fear. I do think PSG is a perfect place for him, though, considering they kind of want to expand their global brand, be this very kind of classy, the brand. They want to be a kind of global franchise. This kind of, they've got the Jordan deal on the shirts. They've got Mbappe, Neymar, the classiest players, and Ronaldo is Ronaldo clearly is the most kind of famous footballer, possibly the most famous person on the planet. So I do think PSG will do the utmost to get him. I don't really see him. I think you're right with saying that Sancho is the aim for United, which actually scares me more. Because obviously there's longevity with Sancho, so I would actually be more fearful of them getting Sancho than Ronaldo.
I think if it's a toss-up, you've got to go for Sancho for sure. But United fans, do you want to see Ronaldo return to Old Trafford? And PSG fans, is there a way that you can get Ronaldo and keep Mbappe? We're struggling to see it personally, but get your thoughts in the comments down below. And let's move on to our second section.
Now for the transfer we don't like, the transfer that's getting the big yellow card from myself. It's Ashley Young to Aston Villa at the request of at Joe D. Shepherd. Dougie, talk us through this nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems a little bit random. I mean, you'll go into why it potentially makes sense for Villa, but I want to see him go to another club. But we'll get onto that in due course because we'll break down the news to begin with. Basically, The Athletic claim that Aston Villa are interested in signing 35-year-old Ashley Young, who could be available from Inter Milan this summer. Now, the former Man United winger/defender, more recently defender in recent years, has played for Inter Milan since January 2020, making 59 appearances for them in the last year and a half, and helping them to a league title this season. He's now become the first ever Englishman to win the Premier League and Serie A. That's quite an achievement, considering some of the levels of players that have come before him, David Platt, etc. But this was the second title of Young's career, as I said. Obviously, he also won one with Man United in 2013, and he played a surprisingly large role in it as well. He made 26 league appearances, 16 starts as he interchanged with Ivan Perisic as their left wing back. And in that time, he contributed 1 goal and 4 assists, and a lot of creativity actually, 1.1 key passes per 90, which was only topped by Lukaku, Brozovic, Barella and Eriksen in the Nerazzurri squad, so more creative than Hakimi. But his contract, however, expires this month, and back in May, he said that he's had an unbelievable time with Inter. If there is something to be done, I'm sure a deal can be sorted out, so he was sort of suggesting that he wanted to stay there. Nothing seems to have been forthcoming. And obviously the club's finances are in a pretty dire place right now, as has been so well reported in the last month or so. So it seems fairly obvious to us that Ashley Young will leave. And according to The Athletic, Burnley and Watford are also interested in him. But Jimbo, joining Villa would have a certain romanticism with it, I suppose. Obviously, there is a romanticism with it. Obviously, he played there between 2007 2011, reaching the League Cup final, I think it was in 2010. The Athletic have claimed that Dean Smith reportedly sees Young as perfect cover for both Matt Targett and Matty Cash, with last season's cover of Neil Taylor and El Mohammadi having left the club in this summer's window. Bringing some cover, seems like a sensible idea. Matt Targett played all 38 games last season. Only 5 outfield players played more minutes, while Matty Cash played 28 games in his debut Premier League season. But the reason we're against this, him going to Aston Villa specifically, is because, as romantic as that is, it'd be even more romantic for him to go back to Watford, where he spent 12 years, from I think it was 10 years old to 22. Obviously, they've just come back up into the Premier League, finishing second in the Championship last season.
with Adam Messina as their starting left back. Obviously, they signed Danny Rose on a free transfer, but Ashley Young could play as a right back or a left midfield, and they do badly need some creativity. Nobody created more than Ken Semmers' 1.2 key passes per 90 in Watford's squad last season. It's going to be a difficult season for the Hornets under Xisco Munoz. No player created over 5 assists in the Championship last season. Only Sarr with 13 and João Pedro on 9 scored over 7. So, as we said, Villa isn't the worst shout in this, but it is just more romantic, and Aston Villa have put, I would say, a lot of emphasis on productive signings, let's say, and Ashley Young's a bit more of a step back, where Watford, obviously coming back into the Premier League, kind of need all the cover they can get just so they cement themselves for the season after next. Dougie, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I tend to agree as well. I think Aston Villa, you know, he's supposedly such a good guy, such a good leader around the dressing room. He wouldn't be the worst pickup for Aston Villa, but I just think Watford, it's just, I think I can see him playing on the left midfield in front of Danny Rose. That'd be quite a nice link up. Maybe curling in some balls to Troy Deeney coming off the bench as well, although it feels like they're going to try and stick with João Pedro next year in the Premier League. And I look at Watford's squad and it just looks a little bit light at the moment. So I think a bit more experience, a bit more quality, a bit more Premier League quality will hopefully keep them up as they inevitably go through about 4 managers before Christmas. So we'll see what happens with Watford and we'll see what happens with Ashley Young. But fair play to him for winning a second league title at the age of 35. Definitely. I think he's done a really good job there. But guys, that's all we've got time for on Transfer Review for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. James, if they have enjoyed it and they want to watch more Football Daily content, what would you recommend?
Yeah, Euro Transfer Talk went out on Tuesday, so if you kind of want to hear the kind of gossip floating around the world of football, make sure you tune into that. We've got loads of Euros content going out as you're probably watching the Euros. You know, make sure you're filled in with all the little details that you probably won't get while watching the coverage. So just stay here and have a great time.
Perfect. Never leave Football Daily in the Football Daily universe. We'll catch you next time, guys. Bye.